Hi and welcome to another workshop with Gooey.AI, and we're kind of waiting for people to stream in, but I think to keep the people who've come in on time and give them that benefit, we will start off. I will share my screen and then Swati, you can take it over from there. Is that okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hi everyone, and welcome to our Make GUI Visuals workshop with Ambika, our talented in-house AI whiz and tech artist and many other things. So I'm just here to give you like a very quick and brief introduction about GUI. So my name is Swati and I head the operations at Gooey.AI. So what we're trying to do at GUI is essentially make AI accessible to everyone. So we're trying to make very simple composable AI. I'm very sure that all of you have already heard about AI and its potential, which is why you're here. But as we've heard from our conversations with various people in the industry, with tech artists, with creative professionals, that there's also the sense of finding it very overwhelming. So what we're trying to do is make it very accessible, approachable, for regular people who are non-techies, non-developers, to be able to use AI as one of the tools in your creative toolbox. So those are some of the tools that Ambika will be exploring with you all today. So these are some of the ways which you can see that generative AI specifically is being used in various creative fields. So Ambika, you can go to the next slide. So there are many things that you can do with generative AI tools. And if you move to the next slide, you'll see many examples of how a lot of big brands, companies, advertising agencies, filmmakers have already used generative AI in their campaigns, in their films. So what we want to do is help you do the same in your businesses, in your creative pursuits. So essentially what you'll find what is different about GUI is that we try to provide you a very simple user-friendly interface for all the tools. So if you visit Gooey.AI, you'll be able to do a lot of complex things with AI in a very simple manner. And the second thing is that we're putting many things together wherein we're stitching different tools. For example, usually if you'd like to make something as complex as an AI video board, you'd have to go and use several different tools or maybe sign up for several different websites, get different billing accounts to be able to create one. But here we're giving you all of these things in just a single page. You just log in using your email, and within a few minutes, you can make something as complicated as an AI chatbot all on your own. So that's what we're trying to do. And I think, I hope you enjoy this workshop and enjoy using the Gooey.AI tools. We're very happy to hear your feedback and work with you to improve our features. So I'll give it off to Ambika to start the workshop.
Thank you. Thanks, Swati. Do we want to do the poll now, or do we wait for some more people to trickle in?
I think before you start, we can just do a quick poll, just a one single question poll for everyone, just to understand what you feel about AI. So if you can just take a few seconds to answer this. So you'll just see a poll on your screen. So if you can just quickly answer whatever you feel is the correct answer. Okay, I think we have the answers. Ambika, can you see the results?
Yep.
Okay,
Too technical and mostly like don't know where to begin. Okay, great.
Cool. So I'll end this now. Yeah.
Thank you. So you can just only see the slides, right? Not some other random things on my computer.
Yeah, just see the slides.
Okay. What do I do? Shut the poll. I'm sorry. I'm a bit like.
You can shut it. I've also closed the poll.
Okay. Right. So before we begin, I just wanted to do a quick, maybe some just reactions in terms of, have you used any image, text to image tool before? Just like let me know with any kind of emoji that you'd like. Okay. Stable Diffusion, Playground AI. Gosh, there are so many new ones now. Gooey, if you use that as well. Right, okay. I'm getting some answers. And um, I also wanted to know, have you paid for any of these tools? Or even if you used Collab, that's also okay to say. If you just used like some tool via Collab. Anything that gives you text to image. Maybe another emoji so I know that you've paid for something. Right, okay. Okay, yes. Preren's vehement, no. So nice one. And Praveen's paid some. Exactly. Cool. Give me some ideas. Uh, yes, James is James is paid for GUI. Okay, great. So great to know like people have been using stuff. And today is actually the purpose of today's workshop is specifically this. To be able to like balance those ideas of what it means to prompt these AI tools and get the right kind of images that we are looking for. I think we are used to seeing very quickly some images that turn up, but how do we bridge that gap between what we visualized in our mind and what the AI was able to produce, and where it should surprise us in a pleasant way, and where we find the sort of gaps that where we feel we need to kind of tweak it a bit. So usually we use a seed number of 42 in as you start off your AI journey in GUI. So we've kind of aptly named it Hitchhiker's Guide to AI Prompting. Um, we'll really like just do a quick deep dive. I'm not going to waste too much time because we're already just a shorter workshop today. So if you want, just maybe in the chat or somewhere where you feel you want to save it, just visualize a very detailed image in your mind. So for example, just think of it in a very clear, very crystallized way in your mind, and like manifest it in inside your head that I want a fantasy like image of an astronaut in the middle of Bombay, wearing some unusual clothes and hugging a human, whatever that might mean for you. So just try to detail that image in your mind as deeply as you want. Start from a fresh place. Try not to be influenced by the already existing AI stuff that you're seeing out there. I feel like that kind of sets you off on a course where then you're not able to find yourself visualizing more originally. It could be anything. I want myself to be standing in the middle of a Star Wars epic scene. Um, I want to be sipping tea at the edge of Taj, Lands End, Bombay, whatever that might be, right by the shore, or I don't know. I want to be under the leaning tower of Pisa, whatever that might be, in a house full of great fairy lights and Alexa in the background. Just try to visualize it as best as you can, and I'm just going to put mine in the chat. So maybe you'd like also to share yours, just to kind of get it going. You can add your questions in the chat, and then maybe at a later point, we'll try to address all of them all together, or depending. Do you hear all my relatives in the back, or is it okay?
No, it's pretty quiet.
Okay, thanks. So I'm saying I want a fantasy film shoot of an astronaut, god, uh, hugging a human in the ruins of. No, I'm not sharing screen right now. So just put in yours so that you don't forget it and that the visualization doesn't shift in your mind, because it's out there in the chat for everybody to see. I want a close-up image of a bacteria in the shape of a heart. Okay, Priran, that's quite something. Okay. I will wait for a few more and your participation uh, will lead to the progress in the next part of the workshops. So please. I want a Van Gogh style painting of a Rottweiler in khakis on safari, shooting photos of dinosaurs. I want an image which will make it irresistibly clickable. So people, yeah, great one, James, but I feel like it needs to be more descriptive visually. This is more abstract. You have to think about the image in a more descriptive way. Say you were trying to explain an image to somebody, say, I don't know, do you have children maybe, or someone who is not able to see an image, and you're explaining that image to them. That's something that you're seeing, even if it's just as simple as outside your very beautiful attic window. We are still maybe a little bit away from the brain directly connecting to image making. Dinosaurs having a party in the middle of the desert, great. A happy dog astronaut wandering around the planet with bone piles all around, fantasy style, very nice. Fisheye view of a war scene, great. Okay. Okay then, all right. Fine. So we will move on. Um, I think you are aware that we have been using, I'm assuming many of you have used the GUI tools or are aware of them. I'll do a quick run through of what's available on our website and then move on to more details. So this is the website on its own, and you will see that we've got a bunch of workflows that are featured here. And from the featured workflows, we will choose, oh, it's not here, sorry. You have to go into the Explore section where you will find a compare image generator. Now, this is basically about 10 odd models that are all kind of based on stable diffusion. And they give different kinds of styles of images based on how you prompt it, what you want, etc. And when you click on them specifically, you will see that the credits go up. So for each model that you use, the credits go up by 2, except for DALI model, which is, I think, a total of 15 credits per image. So at this point, now that you have some visualization of what that image is going to be, I know for some of you like Praveen and Padmanabhan, this is a repeat because I know you've attended past workshops. But I just want you to be able to then break it down into this format where you say a medium. So for me, I've said, okay, Bollywood film still. You could say a painting, a sculpture, a portrait, uh, an old image, a sepia tone image, a black and white photograph, a hieroglyphic, Egyptian hieroglyphic carved on the wall, whatever that might be. And then I will say what is the subject of my visualization, which is a cyberpunk astronaut, Indian non-binary god wearing a space god costume. So like very detailed, like I just want to be very specific. Then I will give a style. So here I said kind of like in the style of say what Indian temple statues are like. And then I want to give a detail. I want to give a detail like they are hugging a human. They're an astronaut and they're hugging the human. They're in the middle of a busy street of Mumbai, and there are some sun rays falling on the streets, and there's got nice cinematic lighting. So I break that down back into this format, and then I just write it out completely. You can just directly do that here in the prompting section. So uh, maybe I will take Preran's image. I really don't know where it will go, but for the sake of surprising all of us, I will do that. So Preran has said that they want a rabbit rat riding on a jaguar god in a radioactive dystopian town. So maybe I'll say a vaporwave digital painting of a rabbit rat riding a jaguar god in a radioactive dystopian uh, uh, American town. I don't know. And then I'm just gonna use few of the models. I'm just gonna do Stable Diffusion, the main one, Open Journey, which is kind of like trained on Mid Journey images, and then Protogen, which is kind of trained in between model type of shoots, but also has a lot of these interesting digital painting fantasy kind of concepts. And I'm not changing anything in the settings. I'm just letting it be as is default, and I will hit submit. I really don't know what's gonna come. This is quite like a crazy one, but hopefully we get something interesting. Okay, so it's kind of getting there. It's like a rabbit rat, but it's kind of assumed that it's a jaguar car and not a jaguar god. Is that what you were trying to get to, Priyan? Maybe you can just answer with the mic or in the chat.
Yeah, I was going for a Jaguar God.
Yeah, yeah. So okay, so I'll give you some thoughts on like how you can fix that. But I'm gonna go back to my exam because I'm better prepared. Sorry. Yeah, so sort of coming there with Protogen, strangely, like
The last one's pretty close.
yeah. So basically now that okay, so now I'm gonna do one thing for you specifically because we've already started this journey for you. You can use this run anyway. So now usually what I do is once I know that okay, this is the style I'm trying to go for and this seems to be the closest, then I just kind of work with that one style and try to kind of focus on making that as close to the visualization I have in my head. So here I have done a Bollywood film still of a cyberpunk astronaut, etc., whatever. So what I did was, because I get a lot of credits, I hit run for all of the tools. So here, if you see the run, it's got all of them. So whether it's analog diffusion on the bottom left here, or both versions of Open Journey, rodent diffusion, dreamlike, all of them have been used in this. And I can already see that Protogen is something I'm kind of keen to like focus on. Oh, full screen, sorry, 1 second. It's sort of something I'm keen to focus on. And I feel like this is something closer to my visualization in terms of what I wanted to get. And you can see some of them seem to have a very like digital painting style, like this Open Journey 1 and 2. Analog diffusion tends to be a lot more like retro images, like little bit like desaturated, almost like old film, from old film cameras, and dreamlike gives you very sort of high color, high contrast, high definition images. And then stable diffusion 1 and 2 can be kind of like photorealistic, but like in terms of what you do with the prompt will change out a lot. DALL-E does its own thing. DALL-E prompting is like its own journey, but more or less, if you get that sense of prompting right, all of them will turn out to be like how you're expecting them to. So I've zoned in on this protogen, whatever 5.3. So maybe I'll give you like 5 minutes, maybe, if you guys want to just do that for yourselves as well. If you feel like, okay, it didn't give you the image that you were really looking for, what would be really simple is to, sorry, do you see this? I don't know what screen I'm sharing. This one. You can just hit this regenerate button and try to see what you're getting in terms of the closest thing to it. Now, I keep repeating this in the other workshops that we do as well, that you have to have patience with the tool. You have to think of the AI as a collaborator, and you can't be impatient with collaborators. You have to come like midway and learn how they understand things as well. It's not just enough to say share a picture with me that looks like a cyberpunk astronaut hugging somebody in the middle of Bombay. I have to really tweak it. I have to tell them this is how detailed I want it. I want these colors. I don't want these colors. I want the people to look like this. I want this kind of lighting, this camera angle, whatever that might be. So really prompt generation as a skill, I will not call it prompt engineering, is very rooted in this idea of being able to collaborate with the tool and figure out what works the best. I think many of us are from creator backgrounds, and we know how to do this with other tools also, whether it's Photoshop or even Word or Excel. Like, you have to learn how to work with the tool and figure out where it will go. There is no um, there's no like quick answer to this. Just because AI is available doesn't mean that it'll just work for you out of the box. You have to make the tools the way you'd like them to work. So now that we've got it at this place, if some of you already done, I'd be really happy if you can just dump them in the chat so we can see a few of them and keep talking about them and not just about what I've done. So just to give you a sense of regenerate, what it does is it'll take the same prompt, it'll change out your random seed number, and then when you hit regenerate, it'll give you a new image, sort of new image. You can keep your mics open if you have questions. If you're stuck, please let us know. This is more interesting, no, Preran? What do you think?
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'll send this one also to you. Right. So someone want to share their links here? Don't have to worry, it's not an exam.
Ambika, I think you
Yes.
could also share slide number 6. It gives like a better idea of what each of the categories are, like the medium.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Shall I do slide 7 rather? Oh, 7. Okay, 6, because it's got all the options. Yeah. Okay. I mean, it doesn't have to be a person. You can also think of a vase or a skull or a computer or a mouse or a phone or whatever that might be. Oh, thank you, Juan and Praveen. Nice. So which one are you leaning towards? One?
Oh, I was so the first one and last one
Okay,
are the ones
cool.
being used.
Right. So what you could try also, like as we progress in the slides, that maybe you keep you can switch off stable diffusion and keep these two on, and then with the settings, you might find the one that you prefer more. And then we have Praveen. Hello, dog. Hello, Laika.
I
Praveen,
just missed the boon file. I'm like, oh, where is the boon file?
we can figure that out. I think
Yes.
the word file will come through.
I love how there's a space for his ears to come out. That's an awesome addition.
That's a true dog lover. Pati, you want to answer that?
Hey, Kathleen, no worries. We'll be sharing the recording with all the attendees after the session, but we've just about started off. I think Ambika just did a very brief intro to prompting. So I hopefully you'll be able to catch on quickly. But please feel free if you have questions and you want to ask at any time.
You can just start off on this link that we've put in the chat. All you need to do is just think of an interesting visualization in your head. Some people are thinking about mice riding jaguars. Some people are thinking about astronauts in the forest, and some people are thinking about dog astronauts. And there are more in the chat you'll find. So just any visualization that you feel you want to try in the AI image generation tool, and you need to then fix it in a certain way to say what is the medium. So a painting of a uh, border collie dog standing in the middle of Mars in the style of a digital rendering with a small bowl of dog food next to it. So just that format is what's needed. So a Bollywood style film still of a cyberpunk astronaut in the style of Indian temple statues hugging another human in the streets of Bombay. So that detail is like, say, perhaps like tweet length, or maybe a little bit less, I don't know. And then you just run it in the image generator tool and try maybe 2 or 3 models and see the one that you like, and then the rest of the exercises we'll do with one of them that we've preferred. Praveen, did you have a preference in the 3?
I'm leaning towards the second one, but yeah, I have again entered by changing some prompts and changing the model.
The model, yeah. So I think that's like on your own workflow, like what you prefer. Like maybe you want to do more iterations earlier on and see how the model works, and then kind of get into the details of the settings. So now I'm just going to like do a quick deep dive, and then which will give us a little bit of space to then do it ourselves and try a few experiments. I will do slideshow. So yeah, so this is the one I chose of all the models that I ran with the same prompt. And I like this one. Uh, and currently, that's just the detail there is. I haven't added any embellishments to it, like what we see usually in typical prompting, like 4K, this K, that K, whatever, HD, 64K, etc., etc. So right now, it's just that. But definitely that little bit of addition of saying highly detailed 4K really will change the image out a little bit. We'll see that soon enough. So you can just add like 4K, 8K UHD, high detail, whatever, depending on if you really want the image to look 4K and 8K and whatever. If you want the image to look like a painting, then you maybe don't need to put those references. So even if you put those references, you really have to think about it in the most logical sense, that there is a database of 5 billion images. Some of them have been tagged as 4K or 8K or ultra high definition, which means they were images that were created with very high resolution, which obviously means that they are photographs. So usually if you put this in prompts where you want to build something that looks photorealistic, it works really well. So here now we are going to dive a little bit into the how the rest of the settings work. I will open this link again here, and probably I'll share this run with everybody. It's quite okay. If I miss sharing the runs, Shipanna, please interrupt me and let me know. So So in this one, I know that now I want this protogen. So what I'm going to do is just like close all the others. And I want to see what happens if I remove all of the negative prompts. Now, negative prompts basically mean just like you would tell a collaborator, okay, make me this astronaut image, but make sure that they don't have extra limbs, make sure that they look very good looking, make sure that, whatever those things might be. So, a negative prompt basically means that. So, here there are some negative prompts which sort of typically are already used here, which was what I wanted. Like, I didn't want saffron color, or I didn't want them to look crippled or have multiple fingers or like strange looking faces and things like that. So some things work really well, some things don't. So for example, I said I don't want very masculine or very feminine looking faces, but still I don't think that prompt worked too well. So I'm just going to remove it and then hit submit again. So the thing to notice, regenerate will change the seed out. But if you make a change and you hit submit, it'll keep the same seed and it will regenerate the image for you. So prompt hero model seems to get stuck. Okay, it's also because like a lot of us are using it together. Maybe do you want to send me the link or something, or a screenshot?
I'm not getting a link. I think it's still in that.
It's still stuck. Do you want to
Yes,
just send the screenshot?
sure. Sure,
Usually,
I'll
what the development team does is that when they find that there's a error in the it shows up in their backend, so they send you the link later as an email. So hopefully that works. Anyway, so this is taking a bit of time, but so basically what happened is this is the same prompt with no negative prompting in it, and it gave me this image. So it didn't really like specifically try to make the image a little more glossy or glamorous, but just like slapped together exactly like how I asked it to. And then once I added the negative prompts, it started giving me a very uh, like a almost like a fashion shoot film still kind of a vibe. Um, here now we'll just dig a little bit deeper once we are at this point. Okay, this is still running, so I guess this is a bit slow. Okay. I'm just going to wait for Praveen's screenshot. Yeah. Okay. I think there's just probably some. Swati, do you think there's a delay in the server? Like, even I am facing the same thing.
I think it's possible, but I'm just speaking to the dev team on the side to
Okay.
try and fix that.
Right. So thank you for that. So here you see that now I've got the negative prompt going, but I also want to see like what quality the image gives me. So quality is a simple like slider here. Now quality is quite simple as you can see in the images. When I do a quality of 10, it gives me a very garbled image. And then when I do 30, 50, 100, 170, up to 200, the quality of the image changes. This one is kind of unusual that it like just totally changed the image out quite a bit, but you can definitely see that this one seem to have a similar kind of root image, and the details on top of them have changed based on the quality. Now, the way to think about quality is, again, I keep going back to that example of like an artistic collaborator. That say you told them to build an image, and then they first did a layer with a like a light blue sketch, sorry, a pencil, and then they like made the lines darker. Uh, uh, are you also facing an issue, Kathleen? Also seems to be stuck. Okay, yeah. So then we'll just wait for the dev team to come back to us. So it's like a very like a light pencil sketch versus like more defined lines with say like a rotring ink pen, and then adding colors as you go on, and then adding them to a point of like real refinement. So we've kind of like stopped the quality at 200, but if you try stable diffusion on its own, if you take it more than that, the image will start to garble. So think about it again in the same way of painting. If you keep adding more and more and more and more paints and details on a painting, eventually you'll start to lose the details and really what's happening in it. So that is what this does. I'm going to share with you quality 10 and quality 200 just to like give you a comparison. And then we will go to guidance scale. Okay. Now, guidance scale is a term you'll hear a lot, especially in terms of stable diffusion. It means something very simple. It is exactly how it's named in the UX here, that it's an artistic pressure. It's how creatively you are allowing the AI to interpret what you have written in the prompt. And this again goes back to the same thing. Like if you say, make me an astronaut that is in XYZ form, how creatively you're allowing it to take that forward. Sometimes the details are not so evident, but sometimes you will find that it really like pushes it a lot. So here it's a bit more photorealistic, whereas by the time you're in scale 25, it's kind of taken it to another level on its own, because it's like pushing a lot on that blue Indian god that we all know very well and is really popular nowadays. And similarly, whereas here it's still trying to be a bit more like an astronauty kind of an image. So you can choose what scale is working for you. Usually 7 is what we default at, but that's totally up to you in terms of how you want to creatively take forward that particular image. And then we have upscaling. Upscaling is, of course, very simple. It's useful for those who are interested in maybe printing or using these images in higher quality. Bear in mind, it only works on square images. I'm going to share this link also with you. Everyone in the meeting. And it's just a checkbox here. That's all it is. So of course, DALI is only up till 512 by 512, but stable diffusion 2 onwards, all the images are trained on 768 by 768 data sets. So you can get much bigger images. So now this is why I kept upscaling before aspect ratios, because the stable diffusion models are all trained on these square images. Things start to move in a different direction when you start like panning out the aspect ratio a lot. So typically what used to happen earlier and has now kind of been corrected a little bit is that if you double the width, so now it's basically 2 square images, it's almost trying to repeat what it's done in the first image. So when you're working with things that are very long like this or very wide like this, you may find that there are places where the images might duplicate, like the whatever was the subject matter might duplicate. So here it's also similar, where the god is kind of like duplicating at the bottom, and then the hug is happening at the bottom. But also you'll notice that unlike here, where when we change the scale, there was a certain semblance of a similar form of the photograph of the image. Here it's changed quite a bit. So this is, so basically what it tries to do is then to build the image in that particular way, where you've said it's a portrait. So it's obviously trying to get a full length image of the as a created image. Or if you say landscape, it's giving you, yeah, it's giving you something more framed almost, and like a little tattoo for the woman. It's quite cute. Uh, and similarly, when you did something really wide, then it tried to make it almost like a wide angle shot. So, which is what this looks like specifically. And then, of course, when you doubled it, it absolutely like just took it to a new kind of a space. So here, of course, you can notice already that there are too many legs, too many arms. So usually even the negative prompting is not able to surpass when you don't use square images, but I don't think it should stop you from trying something that you're interested in doing. Um, Definitely worth looking into, because the results really drastically shift when you move the aspect ratios around. So I'm just gonna quickly dump all of these links to you guys. Yeah. Are more people facing issues, or have things become better? Because I'm just rambling otherwise.
No, I spoke to Dave. I think it'll take another maybe 4 or 5 minutes
Right.
for things to get better, I think.
So what I might do is, since we already have that crazy image here of Preran, right? Preran, yeah. I'm going to make it super tall and then uh, keep the width 5 by 12. Uh, okay. So bear in mind that because it's on 768 by 768, occasionally when say I like bump up everything a lot, it's going to give me an error. Or maybe it works. Yeah. So it's got a maximum size of 768 by 768. Please select a lower width or height. So choose whatever you want to lower. Here I might want to lower the width because I want to do a long image and then see if it works. Okay, so I'll just do like 512, I guess. No problem, Kathleen. If you've closed your window and you go back to the same tool, you will observe that there's a section called history, and your runs should be all there in that. So all the runs that you've done are available in this. Right. So this is, no, this is not the one that I was running. Where is that crazy one? Here, there you go. So you see now it's double the animal that we had in that. So that's kind of interesting also. Like it could be quite nice if you're trying something conceptual. Maybe you can use it to your favor as well. So anyway, so that is what dimensions and aspect ratios can do. Am I okay on time? Another 15 minutes, right? Yeah. Okay. So I'm just gonna like do a little bit of a recap. Our original prompt was a Bollywood film still of cyberpunk astronaut, Indian non-binary god uh, wearing a space god costume, hugging a non-binary human in the busy streets of Bombay. Oh my God, this is really long. Sun rays coming, falling in on the streets, cinematic lighting in the style of Indian temple statues, 4K, 8K, UHD, whatever, highly detailed. So this is the original prompt. And what I've done is just to give you a sense of how the seed doesn't change if you change out some details. So here you'll notice that the form of the two humans is kind of similar to the original one which was here, where they're hugging, and then you see that I've changed out in the style of Indian temple to Greek temple. I changed out it to a Hollywood style film. I made it busy streets of Athens, and then I said it's not a cyberpunk robot, it's astronaut, it's a steampunk astronaut. And then finally I just changed the lighting altogether and I said it's like evening lighting. So that kind of like brings me to a place where okay, now I'm really happy with the way the mood of the image is looking. It's got all the things that I want. It's got Athens. It's got this really beautiful like set of structures. The lighting is looking good, and I like this little sky thing happening on the top as well. And then from there, I may want to like really push that a little bit more and say, okay, give me a wide angle image, give me a fisheye lens image, give me something that looks like tilt shift or zoom lens or macro lens or wide angle or again, sorry, wide angle is twice, and then a telephoto lens sample as well. So, I mean, usually I found that using this word sample may or may not make a difference, but I just wanted it to be standard for all of the examples. So I just replicated it. So then this is the image that I got, which I kind of liked. And I was like, okay, now I have this image, I have these people, but I want to see what else I can do with the GUI tools because that's like literally my job. so, so I was like, okay, let's take it to another tool. So we've got this really wonderful tool called Edit edit image with AI, which is basically image to image, also part of Stable Diffusion, where you put in an image and put in a prompt, and it gives you another image. You may be used to this in Midjourney as well, where you put in imagine/prompt, put in the hyperlink of the image, and then you can put in a little prompt that can move that image to another dimension. So we've done two examples here, and I've kept the prompt the same, but the models are different. So if we see this, oops. So this tool is super simple as well. Just gonna dump this link as well. So you can just put any image that you want. It doesn't have to be an AI image. I can very easily put uh, uh, maybe there's some very embarrassing image of me. Okay, maybe I just put this one. This is me and my grandmother and my mom. And we outside our in our veranda. Praveen knows this veranda because he's visited my house. So, but everyone is welcome. So I've just said, okay, add a flying saucer in the background. But here we've got like about 10 or 12 models, and you can kind of use them. But this one specifically is very interesting. It's called Instruct Pix to Pix, which allows you to, yeah, DALL-E is kind of contentious in my mind still. I mean, I guess they will figure something out over the course of time. It works nicely if like you get that prompting going in a particular way, but of course it's so limited because it only gives you 512 by 512, and it's also always only square. So it's really changed all of us out a little bit. Like, so it requires a little bit of tweaking, but it's worth figuring out as well. So you can like move the image strength down a little bit when you're doing that. But what was essentially I was saying before I got distracted was that Instruct Pix to Pix basically is also able to identify the natural language that you're using by saying to add the sources in the background, which it's done here. Whereas if I were to use, say, Protogen here and use the same prompt, it may add the flying saucers even on my face. So that is the kind of difference this particular model allows for compared to the others. So there you go. So it's like, so basically it changes the entire image out, and it uses the prompt only minimally to like take on something. So then again, it's the same thing. It's like, say maybe you gave an image to somebody, and then you know that Reddit meme that used to go around which said that, can you remove this from the background, and then they would do all sorts of nonsensical things with that person. So it's kind of like, to think about it in an amusing way, it's kind of like in that same vein, but they can give you interesting results depending on what you're interested in doing. This works really well if you have your own hand-drawn sketches and you want to like push them to do something interesting out of it. So for example, like I have a sketch here, which is basically a very rough, uh, like a figure sketch, and I'll use this, but I'm gonna just bump up the guidance scale a lot because it's very rough, the image, and then it will try to build on top of that image. So anyway, so this is what we got when we said flying saucers in the background with Instruct Pix to Pix, which allowed for some very nice and cute little like thingies happening in the back. But when I said it with Protogen, it kind of just went crazy with it and tried to build like flying saucers on people's faces as well. Oh, here James has used all of them. Let's see. Sorry, I just want to show everyone. Lovely. Looking really nice. So here you can actually see that analog diffusion give you a more photographic image, whereas Open Journey has a more fantastical painting style compared to Dreamlike, which is kind of somewhere in the middle. So all of them have their own like qualities and things that work really well for them. Right. So where was I? Back to, so here you go. So here it's kind of tried to build some flying saucers based on my drawing. And it's kind of kept most of those layers intact, which is quite interesting. So anyway, so that's how you use image to image, which is called edit image with AI. I think it's a very interesting tool and really worth exploring. As always, I am running out of time. But the last tool, which I feel is really interesting and perhaps something we've also not really pushed a lot, but I think perhaps the right people would be able to make it uh, amazing, is this one, which is generate photo backgrounds. So this tool is really simple and fairly effective, where you can cut out an object or a person from an image and add a different background. So um, so here, if you want to look at the details, now this is really where GUI workflows want to be, where it's not just using one tool, but actually using a few AI workflows and automation workflows to give you something usable without having to do any coding. So here, if you settings apart, if you see the details, you'll see that first it took the input image, it cut out or masked the particular object that's in there, which is in the foreground. And then in the end, it added the other background that we were looking for. So here, I don't have to specifically say, oh, add it in the background, or add this in the background. I can just put my prompt in as I usually put my prompts in, which is like, give me a god like this or that or whatever. So what will happen is that it will just use it in the background. It tends to have this quality where it tries to pick up the edges and build on top of it. So you can see that this is not exactly the original image, but this can be really used well, because then that means there is a sort of inbuilt format within in painting of this sort, where you're able to blend that image into a new prompt. So you can use it very interestingly. Don't have to think of it as a negative, where, oh, it's just ruining the image that I have, and getting stressed out about it. Right. Preran has sent something. Let me just have a look. Maybe I will use his crazy Teletubbies and and change their backgrounds out. Right, so maybe I'm gonna take this one, save it. Sorry, Preran, you become like my uh, friend for the day for this workshop. Um, so I'll just use the same bunch of prompts. So here, what we could do is we can, of course, use a particular model and change out the quality and the guidance of how much it needs to, how much artistic pressure it needs. But what's interesting here is that once the object cutout has happened, you can actually determine a scale, and you can position the masked image within it. So you can say, I want it to the left, the right, the center. So we already know that, okay, there's a bit of a table, and there are there are the Teletubbies on top. So perhaps in this situation, I may just want the image to be closer to the bottom edge, so that it doesn't look strange that the table is kind of cut out. And then I can say how neatly and aggressively I want those edges to be cut out. So I'm not certain how this will work, because the subject is quite big compared to here, where it was just these two people. And I'm gonna hit submit. So you can see here that, okay, so now you can see that it's the masking is just the faces, right? And then once that happens, wait for the images. So here I could like lessen this edge removal threshold. So maybe I've done half now. Let's see. Let this one image come in. So it's pretty cute. Like now it's kind of put them in this kind of Martian space thing, which is like interesting. And I will donate this link back to Preran so you can play with it. So yeah, so like our idea is that you're able to like first explore the basic tools, which are like, say, compare image generator or compare language models, but then be able to find ways to like build these workflows or recipes that like move from one tool to another, and then give you something out of the box at the very end without having to fool around too much with the code. Right. So this is, there you go. So now the threshold is a little bit less. As you can see, like you have some more details of the hands and the body. So it's given you a little bit of a different image, and then you can just hit regenerate and figure something out. So there is a certain context it tries to do once the image has been added in. But it's up to us to really play with it and see where we'd like to take these images. If you are creators, I feel like don't think of this as like the be all end all tool. I think now many of us are used to like intermixed workflows, like where we may take an image from Photoshop, take it back to Canva, download it, take it back to After Effects, upload it back to YouTube, do something there. I don't know. So it's very like very typical for us in our workflows to use interconnected tools. So don't, I keep saying this, but don't think of like AI is the be all end all tool, and then you don't have to do anything more. It's really up to us to redefine how these tools can be used within our industrial industry or mainstream spaces that we are inhabiting. So that's exactly 1 hour. And maybe if you want to like hang out and ask questions, and also want to show off some of the things that you're doing, that'll be super cool. um, do the commas matter in prompts, or can it just be a wall of text? So I have observed that in some places the commas do matter. Say for example, if I were to say a woman on an operating table, comma, there is the doctor there, or she is in stress, versus if I say a stressed woman sitting on an operating table, the second prompt will give me something more detailed and closer to my visualization. uh, Occasionally it doesn't make a difference. uh, that is more or less where it is. But I think it's like as you're building it out, you will find where the commas matter and where they don't matter. Typically, my observation is that what is the most important focus of the image, try not to put commas before that. That has usually worked for me. Of course, it's not a math formula. So usually, and then after the comma, it's more like details. It's like, okay, there is like some background light there, and there is something, whatever, something like that. Do you have any advice for getting better understanding of technical side of things, perhaps making my own models? Maybe you can connect with us and we can connect you to the dev team, because all of our tools have APIs, and they can be run in Curl, Python, and Node.js. And there have been, and in fact, I think one of these tools is being used by James as well, where we've connected it to a collab, and then it's like passed on from there. And Dave is here, so maybe you can connect with him on the side. He's our uh, technical founder. Okay, yeah, thank you. Anybody wants to share any of their prompts? Does anybody want to maybe share some questions or doubts, or Hmm. This is a doubtful question, but yes, we will we will figure that out and update you. But mostly, I think I've shared most of the prompts on the chat here. So perhaps we might just collate them and share them with you as well.
Yeah, we'll try and put them on our Discord server as well. I'll share the Discord link with you. And definitely the videos will go up. And if you have any further questions, even later, please feel free to ask on our Discord server, which is this.
Right. Oh yeah, and then in the Discord, usually for every workshop we do a little thread section, and then for this one it is here, and you can if you like, maybe later you did something that you were excited about and it was because of the workshop, you can just add it here, and we will be happy to see it.
So, Ambika, a very simple question. How do I navigate to the edit photos section from the GUI homepage?
Yes. Are you able to see my screen?
I can see Discord right now. Yeah, okay, yeah.
So in the explore section, all our tools are available.
Okay.
So you're looking for edit image, right?
I mean, just whatever we looked at today.
Right.
So
today we did product photo backgrounds. So that is this one with the little cute dog. And then edit images.
With an AI prompt. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So they're all under explore. Fantastic. Thank you.
Yes. I'll just also dump them in the chat so then it's easy for you to see through. I do recommend in the beginning to try to use like square images to prompt it, and then even in your image compare image generator to use square dimensions. It's just like so that you're able to like master the prompting stuff, and then later you can like push it in different directions. Usually I think that's kind of worked for me well in the past. Okay. Anything else? Anyone has any questions or anything that they'd like to connect with us on? I think some of our team members are here, so can I help you out there? Okay, Sriran has shared something. Parasitic baby living. Oh, I have many opinions about children, so I'll keep quiet. But this is looking quite interesting, and I feel like here, right? So if you're looking to make something that is a bit macabre or like fantastical, I've also found that if you don't put all these prompts in the negative prompt, the visualizations look even crazier and more interesting. So they end up having more arms, and then it's trying less tending to like remove all of those negative things and figuring it out.
Just for fun, if you want to try in a prompt to write some letters, no words, random letters and space and letter, and you can see the results. They are something you cannot imagine. It's funny.
Yes. I think even Dave, I think had said no, 1, 2, 3, 4 had given some results.
Yeah, it's I typed in just 1, 2, 3, 4, and it gives like weird, interesting photos. Yeah, it's like, I mean, I feel like clearly don't understand what exactly is happening with the text that we put in. There's like this huge, like crazy range space that is going into. Like if you literally type in 1, 2, 3, 4, it comes up with something interesting. That is not 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. It's not even numeric. It's just some photo of a girl. So
yeah, especially in Open Journey, I think that's kind of like a base image almost. I find that weird one. All right. These are really nice. I've also found that in underwater images somehow always turn out really nice. It seems like they have a big data set or something. Yeah. So what will happen is that every time you hit submit, it'll use the same seed, and even if you add a few words in it, it'll continue to try to build that same image. So just like when I said that, okay, when your noise quality is low, so for example, let me just do it for one or two of them. Just for the time. So here you got a seed number, and I think Dave is here, so you can even correct me if I'm wrong. So you got this one. And then if I don't hit regenerate and then I add something here, which is like, say maybe I add, I don't want the color blue, even though these are all images of the ocean, but whatever. And then whatever, I keep this back at 70, and then I hit submit again. So it's still the same, it's just remove blue. And then if I, instead of fisheye view, I say, I don't know, macro lens. Yes, the seed doesn't change unless you regenerate. So I find that it's quite easy to start off like building a image, that once you figured out that, okay, this is the setting and I want to change a couple of the details of the prompts, I can keep adding those and hitting submit and getting closer to the result that I want. Whereas like if I'm not happy with the base composition, which now if I don't change anything except say the quality and I hit submit again, you will see something quite similar in terms of the base composition.
Yeah, I mean, this was a very long conversation we've had since the very beginning, which is all of these tools like randomize the seed, and I feel like that kinds of hinders your creativity because you in something in the prompt, but you lost what you had because the seeds keep changing. And so I feel like it's very easy if the seed says static and you change the settings to figure out what exactly changing based on your settings, based on your prompt, and then use regenerate as sort of a way to generate a catalog from that same style or the same prompts.
So now if I hit regenerate, now the seed will change. And then if I keep changing more stuff and keep hitting submit, the seed will continue to be the new seed, and I can keep adding or subtracting to it. So now again, now the seed has changed. The quality was 20. So if I turn that up to 90 and if I hit submit again, it will continue to keep that 170 whatever. But the quality of the image will differ. And usually I found that even if I like change out the model, sometimes it tries to keep a similar composition. So which is nice. Like then you know, okay, what will it look like if I do it with analog or protogen or whatever. So Dave, I just wanted to know if that's something that I think I've observed that in some spaces it was added, like when I don't have a model shoot off or
Yeah, so you don't have to like the prefix of analog style or yeah.
Cool. Anything else, or shall we proceed to our bedtimes?
Do keep an eye out for our other workshops. We'll be holding every couple of weeks, and each week we'll try to focus on a different set of workflows. And Ambika will do a deep dive into those specific ones. I think the next one on the cards is the make GUI writing, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Sorry, I don't have the link to it readily.
No, but we'll keep you posted. We'll be posting on social media, and everybody who's on our mailing list will get a link as well. So do keep an eye out, and hopefully we'll see all of you once again.
Yes. And of course, Swati's already told you about the credits. If as participants you get those, and if you're individually trying out things, and there's also an option to write in to us for a grant, so you can do that as well. And if you've already explored some of these tools and are interested to push that a bit more, there is also an AI image animation tool. So you can use multiple prompts here, and there are lots of settings. Try it. There is a video for a how-to, which is, I think, here, or maybe we can just share it later with you if someone's interested. And then if you want to try that, that's also available. Are we on mailing list because we signed up? I think, Swati, yes?
Yeah, we'll add you in. Unless you don't want to be on it.
Thank you very much, guys. That was a great introduction. I'll play around, and if anything, drop you a note to clarify stuff. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks.
Good night.
Thanks for joining, everyone.
Thank you.
Mhm.